guys, this is your reading for Tuesday the 26th of December, Boxing Day. Let's have a look at what the cards want you to be aware of today, and I hope you've had a good Christmas so far. I hope there haven't been any major dramas or crises and that you're in a good place. I'm going to choose 3 cards here to give you an insight into the day's energy and to see what's coming up for you today. So, got the 5 of Swords in reverse, the Knight of Wands, and the 2 of Swords. Okay. So, the 5 of Swords in reverse. When the 5 of Swords is upright this way, we can see this young guy smirking because he's just been in a fight with these 2 other people. That one is crying because he really got beaten very badly. This one is just kind of saying, ugh, you know, I've lost, I'm taking my cloak and I'm out of here. And he's just kind of smug and saying, I'm the best swordsman. I'm picking up all of these swords. I've beaten them. I've competed with them. I've really created a lot of conflict, but I've won. So I'm really smug and happy and pleased with myself. That's in reverse. So that's really positive because in reverse, it means there's no sort of sense of combativeness, if that's a word. Combativeness, something. You're not interested in fighting with people. You're not interested in arguing. You're not interested in proving your point, saying I'm top dog, everyone else is wrong, the way I think, the way I communicate is right, and all of you have no idea what you're doing. That's not in place today. So you really have freedom from that kind of behavior. You also have freedom from other people behaving that way towards you. So the cards are saying that there isn't a lot of potential for conflict. There is, if anything, there's a sense of togetherness and a meeting of minds rather than separating yourself from other people. So if you've gone away for the holidays and if you're spending it with other people, then this is a great day to kind of discuss things and to come closer to people. And you know, often this is the one time of year where you see people in your extended family, and if there have been issues or problems, you can discuss those in a very calm and reasonable way. You're not interested in saying I was always right, you know. And some of these things can be really difficult. Like if you meet up for Christmas and you're all adult children at this point, you know, you're all in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, things will have happened where there have been conflicts, and you know, there could be things like inheritances or ill parents, or you know, all the difficulties that we face within our families. So the good news is that no one's going to be there saying, okay, I am out to get him and I'm going to prove what a fool he was, and I'm going to make sure that I tell everyone how right I am. And with that energy not being there, there's actually room to have a genuine, proper discussion. So if you do want to iron out some kinks in relationships, if there have been things which have been unsaid or unspoken up until now, it's a really good time to let reason kind of rule and to get some real closure and freedom and clarity around those situations by having an honest, frank discussion. The Knight of Wands is a court card, and he's really passionate and fiery, and he wants to express himself. And the Knight cards are always a little bit extreme. They don't know how to use the energy correctly just yet, or to manage the energy. That's what the King of Wands does. The King of Wands can use this fiery energy and channel it in the way he wants. The Knights are often super creative, and they can get things moving and be totally inspired and make major life changes. And sometimes we need the Knight energy to really shake things up. So the Knight of Wands is present here on this day, and that's something that's happening for you internally, away from other people in a sense. That's something that's going on inside of you, and you'll have lots of ideas and lots of inspirations come up for exciting and fun and life-changing things that you can do in the next year. So you're going to start thinking about the future here a little bit, in the sense of, what am I excited about? What can I blast out of my way? You know, what structures have I got in my life that don't serve me any longer? What changes do I want to make in the new year? And how can I use this excessive kind of fiery, passionate energy to bulldoze my way forward so that I can actualize myself? That's what the Knight of Wands wants to do. He's so interested in his personal growth and development that sometimes that energy turns into aggression or anger, and he kind of has to push through certain things to get to the situation where he's at. So that's not something that you take a lot of action on, because we've got this card in reverse. So there's no kind of get out of my way, I'm doing this. It's just a sense of freedom from the confines of other people's rules and other people's expectations of you. There's a real sense of communion, or not communion, that's what you do at church, community with other people, and meeting of the minds. And internally, you've got things building up and inspiration kind of bubbling along, inspiring you for what you're going to do in 2018. Finally, we've got the Two of Swords. And the Two of Swords, you can see this woman who is blindfolded. She's defensive. She's full of fear. The emotions are overwhelming her. She thinks she's totally pure, but she really has no idea what's going on, because she's just sitting in the middle of nowhere, and the tide is kind of creeping in, and her feelings are going to deal with her if she doesn't deal with them, as they say in the 12 steps. So there's an element here of being a little bit deliberately defensive or shut down to certain realities. And that's interesting in a sense, because here we've got a lack of competitiveness and a lack of arguing and fighting with people. And that is partly because you have backed off and you're not looking outside of yourself. You're really, on this day, really looking at the fires that burn within. So I don't think this is so much to do with being fearful and being defensive and really being shut off and blinded. I think it has much more to do with a sense of hope for the future, having your own space, having freedom to look at your feelings and deal with them, and to explore them in a really fun and positive and internal way without being influenced by the voices and the instructions of other people. So Boxing Day seems to be a really peaceful day where you're even more reflective, and you're able to kind of, you've got one foot in the present situation, so you're kind of there with other people and saying, okay, let's have a nice lunch and have a chat and have no conflict and everything's fine. But on the other hand, you know, the other foot is kind of focused on what's going on within you and the excitement that's building inside of you for the future. And that's something that's very personal, and that's something that you're not willing to share. And also the message is, don't share it with other people. Let it kind of gestate within you by itself, and your ideas and your passions develop in your own terms. The Knight of Wands is going to become the king by himself, by dealing with his own passions and desires in his own way. He doesn't graduate from this to being a king by talking to other people or getting more information or learning. It's by following his own passions and desires and feelings and developing as a result of that. So this is a day that's quiet, peaceful, but there's a lot going on underneath the surface, and you can use that information to really serve you in the future, what you're going to be doing, what you're passionate about, and what you want 2018 kind of to look like. So it's a good day to start setting intentions for the future, because they're kind of organically building up within you anyway. And again, we don't have a lot of conflict or anger or anything like that going on. If there is something that's problematic, then don't feel like you have to go on the defensive or be silent or turn a blind eye. It's really unlikely that someone's going to kind of challenge you or attack you or kind of say, I really don't like the way you've been behaving or doing A, B, and C. But if they do, then really don't feel like you have to shut down and turn your back and run away from that. You're able to say, okay, well, thank you for sharing, but I disagree because this is my path and this is the way I think things ought to be done. And your opinion, thanks for sharing your opinion. I mean, you know, we're close and you have an interest in what I'm doing and in my well-being, but I really don't see it your way, and we're going to have to agree to disagree, or I'll take things on board or whatever. But really, it's much more about developing your own insights and your own interests, and you don't have to feel like you have to make yourself smaller to keep the peace. If something does come up that's unpleasant, you're able to address it. You don't have to go into denial. You can just address it and be done with it. And there's not going to be a lot of conflict or competition, and people are going to be pretty reasonable on this day. And focus on what's going on internally. That's going to be much more productive than trying to talk things out with other people and conflict resolution and all of that stuff. So number-wise, we've got 5 and a court card, which is 1. So 5 and 1 is 6. And 2 is 8. And 8 is about power and strength. And the power and strength that's going on is inside of you in terms of the inspirations that you're getting and how that's going to influence your life purpose in future and your focus on your own path and your own journey, on your own destiny, and how you're going to realize that moving forward. So I hope you have a great day. If you'd like a private reading with me, then please get in touch via my website. It's gregoryscott.com. Click on the readings tab to order your reading. Please remember to subscribe to this YouTube channel, and I'll speak to you tomorrow.